The Great Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Massive crystal pillars stretched upward into the darkness, their surfaces reflecting the soft blue light that emanated from the floor. Around the circular chamber, representatives from 24 alien species sat in rising tiers, their forms varying from merely human to completely alien. Ambassador James Walker stood at the center of the chamber, his weathered face betraying no emotion as he watched the council members cast their votes. At 65 years old, he had spent the last decade representing humanity in this very chamber. Now he was about to witness the end of everything he had worked for. "The vote stands at 23 in favor," announced Council Speaker Marcus, his tall, silver-skinned form towering over the podium. "With one abstention." His 4 eyes fixed on Walker, with what could only be described as cold satisfaction. Walker's mind raced back to humanity's first contact, just 50 years ago. He had been a young diplomat then, watching in awe as the first alien ships descended through Earth's atmosphere. The Council had seemed so benevolent, so eager to welcome humanity into their fellowship of advanced civilizations. In accordance with Council law, Marcus continued, his voice echoing through the chamber, "We hereby declare a state of war against the species known as humans, effective immediately." Walker's hands gripped the railing of his platform. "On what grounds?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the anger burning in his chest. Marcus activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. Images flashed by. Human colonies spreading across 3 star systems, ships incorporating alien technology in new and unexpected ways, weapons that had evolved beyond their original designs. In the mere 50 years since contact, Marcus stated, "Humanity has advanced at an unprecedented and dangerous rate. You have taken our gifts of technology and twisted them into forms we never intended. Your species reproduces and spreads faster than any council race. You show no respect for the natural order of advancement." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "So our crime is learning too quickly, adapting too well. That's hardly your crime," Marcus cut him off, "is being unpredictable, dangerous. In 3,000 years of peace, the Council has maintained order through careful control of technological advancement. Humanity refuses to follow this pattern." The chamber erupted in murmurs as Walker laughed out loud. "Now we reach the truth," he said. "This isn't about peace, it's about control." "Remove the human ambassador," Marcus ordered. Guards moved forward, their armor gleaming. Walker held up his hands. "I'll see myself out." He turned to face the assembled council members. "Remember this moment," he said clearly. "Remember that you chose war not because we threatened you, but because we refused to remain inferior." As Walker walked toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the sudden silence, his communicator vibrated against his wrist. A message from Earth Command. "Omega protocol activated. Return immediate Eloi." They had prepared for this. Humanity wasn't as defenseless as the Council believed. In the space dock, Walker boarded his shuttle. As it lifted off, he watched the Council tower recede into the distance. The massive structure had always reminded him of an ancient lighthouse, guiding civilizations toward a brighter future. Now he saw it for what it really was, a watchtower, monitoring and controlling those below it. His shuttle cleared the atmosphere of the Council world, and Walker saw the gathered warships of the member species. Thousands of vessels, representing the combined might of 24 civilizations, all preparing to move against Earth and its colonies. "Starting emergency transmission to Earth Command," his shuttle's AI announced. Walker nodded, his expression grim. "Tell them it's done. The Council has shown its true face." He paused, watching as more ships jumped into the system. "And tell them to activate the Prometheus Protocol. We're going to show them exactly why they should have feared us." The shuttle jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind the Council world and its assembled armada. The 3,000-year peace was over. Now, humanity would prove why it deserved its place among the stars. Deep within Earth's military command center, buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Thomas Gray stared at the massive holographic display. Red dots appeared across the map of human space, each one representing a council battle fleet. They were moving fast, too fast. "Time until they reach our outer colonies," he asked, his voice echoing in the dim command center. 6 hours, sir," replied Captain Lisa Reed, her fingers moving swiftly across her control panel. "The council ships are moving faster than we expected. They must have been preparing this for months." The admiral rubbed his gray beard, studying the tactical display. Around him, dozens of officers worked at their stations, coordinating Earth's response to the impending attack. Warning signals flashed as more council ships appeared at the edges of human space. "Status of the evacuation?" Gray asked, turning to face the colony coordinator's station. "New Eden is at 60% evacuated. Hope Colony at 75%. Freedom Station." The young officer paused. "Freedom Station is only at 40%, sir. They have too many civilians." Gray slammed his fist on the railing. These were millions of lives they were talking about. Families, children, all because the council couldn't handle humanity's progress. Suddenly, every screen in the command center flickered. The main display filled with static before resolving into an unfamiliar alien face. The being had pale blue skin and large expressive eyes. "This transmission is encoded on quantum frequencies," the alien said quickly. "I am Council Member Blue Star. There isn't much time." Gray stepped forward. "Why should we trust any council member right now?" "Because I was the one abstention in the war vote," Blue Star replied. "Listen carefully. This war isn't just about your rapid advancement. The council leadership is afraid because they discovered something in your genetic code." The command center fell silent. Even the usual beeping of equipment seemed muted. "Your species has markers indicating you were engineered by the ancients, the race that came before the council. The same race the council's founders destroyed 3,000 years ago out of fear." Captain Reed gasped. "The ancients, the ones who built the mysterious ruins we found." Blue Star nodded. "The council has been eliminating any species that shows signs of ancient influence. They've done it 12 times before. But you humans, you're different. You have more ancient markers than any species they've encountered. That's why they're moving so fast." Gray realized. "They're afraid we'll unlock our full potential." "Yes, but there's more." Blue Star looked over his shoulder nervously. "The council's first strike isn't aimed at your military. They're targeting your civilian populations. They want to eliminate the genetic line completely." Gray's face hardened. "Captain Reed, update evacuation priorities. All ships, military and civilian, are to focus on civilian evacuation. Activate the defense platforms." "But sir," Reed protested, "the platforms aren't fully tested. The new shield technology is exactly what the council doesn't expect." Gray finished. "And send the signal to activate all sleeper cells in council space." Blue Star's image started breaking up. "One last thing. In the ancient ruins on your colony world New Eden, there's a chamber you haven't opened yet. The council knows about it. That's why they're hitting New Eden first. You must." The transmission cut off in a burst of static. Gray turned to his communications officer. "Get me Ambassador Walker's shuttle." "Already incoming, sir. He'll dock in 10 minutes." The admiral looked back at the tactical display, watching as more red dots appeared. The council thought humanity would be an easy target. They thought they were dealing with a young, inexperienced species. "Send this message to all commands," Gray ordered, his voice firm. "Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. This isn't just about survival anymore. We're going to show the council exactly why the ancients chose to engineer humanity." As alarms blared throughout the command center, Gray allowed himself a small smile. The council had spent 3,000 years maintaining their perfect order through fear and control. They had no idea what it meant to face an enemy with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Humanity was about to teach them. The space around New Eden Colony lit up like a Christmas tree. Council warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel by the hundreds, their weapons already charged and ready to fire. Their scanners showed minimal defenses around the human colony, exactly what they expected from such a young species. Fleet Commander Rex of the Council forces allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. "Begin the attack," he ordered, his scaled skin reflecting the light of nearby stars. "Remember, no survivors." The first wave of Council ships moved forward, their weapons firing bright beams of energy toward the seemingly defenseless colony. But instead of destroying buildings and killing civilians, something unexpected happened. The beams hit an invisible wall. "Impossible!" Rex shouted, jumping from his command chair. "Their shield technology is barely 5th level. They shouldn't have anything that can stop our weapons." On the surface of New Eden, inside the main defense bunker, Colonel Anna West watched the Council ships through the holographic display. "Wait for it," she whispered. Around her, defense operators tracked the enemy fleet's movements. The Council ships fired again. This time, the shields didn't just block the attack, they absorbed it and changed color. "Now," West ordered, "show them what humanity can do." The invisible shield surrounding New Eden suddenly pulsed with all the energy it had absorbed. But instead of releasing it randomly, the energy formed into thousands of precise beams. Each beam was perfectly calibrated to match the exact frequency needed to pierce Council ship shields. "How?" Rex screamed as he watched a third of his fleet explode in seconds. "Their shields. They're learning. Adapting. This is beyond even ancient technology." In the defense bunker, West smiled. "Send the signal to all colonies. Operation Chameleon is a success. The adaptive shields work perfectly." But the Council forces weren't finished. More ships arrived, changing their tactics. They launched fighters and ground troops, trying to find weak spots in the shield. "Colonel," one of the operators called out, "they're testing different frequencies, trying to overload our shields." West nodded calmly. "Let them try. Each attack just makes our shields stronger." She opened a channel to Earth Command. "Admiral Gray, New Eden defense systems are performing beyond expectations. The Council forces have no idea what they're dealing with." Through the speaker came Gray's reply, "Excellent. Now show them our offense." West pressed her hand against a DNA scanner. A new holographic panel appeared, showing the countdown. "Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce the Council to humanity's latest invention." From hidden silos across New Eden's surface, hundreds of small objects launched into space. The Council ships ignored them at first. They were too small to be weapons. That was their final mistake. The objects split apart, each piece replicating itself using the surrounding space debris and energy. Within minutes, thousands of tiny machines swarmed around the Council ships. "What trickery is this?" Rex demanded, watching in horror as the machines attached themselves to his ship's hulls. "Sir," his science officer reported, voice shaking, They're rewriting our shield frequencies, changing our weapon systems. They're turning our own technology against us." Rex watched helplessly as his mighty fleet fell into chaos. Ships fired upon each other, their systems hijacked by human technology. Others simply shut down, their power rerouted to strengthen the humans' defenses. In the defense bunker, West received reports from other colonies. The same scene was playing out everywhere the Council attacked. Humanity's adaptive shields and nanite swarms were turning the invasion force into scrap metal. "Send word to Admiral Gray," West ordered. "Tell him Phase 1 is complete. The Council's first strike has failed." She paused, looking at the tactical display showing Council ships either destroyed or retreating. "And tell him we're ready for Phase 2. As she watched the last Council ships flee, West thought about how the mighty Council, with all its ancient technology and 3,000 years of power, had just learned a crucial lesson. Never underestimate humans. They had spent 50 years preparing for this day, knowing the Council would eventually turn on them. Now it was humanity's turn to take the fight to them. and they were just getting started. Intelligence Officer Maria Ross moved silently through the dark halls of the abandoned Council Archive Station. The emergency lights cast long shadows on the walls, and the only sound was the soft hum of her stealth suit. The Council's rush to war had left some of their facilities understaffed, a mistake she intended to take full advantage of. "Security systems are down," whispered the voice of her AI companion through her earpiece. "You have 20 minutes before their next patrol comes through this sector." Maria reached a large door marked with Council symbols. Using a decoder device disguised as a bracelet, she quickly gained access. Inside, rows of crystal data storage units glowed with a faint purple light. "Jack, start downloading everything," she commanded her AI. "Focus on their oldest records first." As data streamed into her quantum storage device, Maria noticed something strange. "These records go back way further than 3,000 years, she muttered. "Why would they lie about their history?" Suddenly, her device beeped. "Warning," Jack announced. "I found something." These files were hidden behind 17 layers of encryption. The holograms sprang to life around her, filling the room with images from the past. Maria's eyes widened as she watched the truth unfold. The first image showed a civilization far more advanced than even the current council. The ancients. They had created a network of worlds, spreading life and knowledge across the galaxy. But they had also created something else. Genetic markers that would help species evolve faster, grow smarter, become more adaptable. They were seeding the galaxy, Maria realized, preparing younger species for something. The next series of images showed the early council, much different from what it was now. They had discovered the ancients' plan and feared it. Instead of allowing species to naturally evolve with the ancients' gifts, they decided to control everything. "Jack, are you seeing this?" Maria asked, her voice trembling. "The council. They've been systematically wiping out any species that showed signs of rapid advancement." "Accessing records now," Jack replied. "Found 12 confirmed cases of genocide, all covered up as natural disasters or internal conflicts. The images showed peaceful civilizations, all destroyed because they developed too quickly or showed signs of the ancients' genetic markers. The council had painted itself as a peaceful organization, but its entire history was built on fear and control." A new file appeared, this one about humanity. "Look at this," Jack said. "They'd been studying us since before first contact. They knew about our genetic markers 50 years ago. So joining the council was never about peace," Maria said bitterly. "They were just keeping us close, watching us, waiting for the right moment to strike." Her device beeped again. "Maria, you need to see this," Jack said urgently. "I found coordinates. Hidden ancient facilities, ones the council hasn't destroyed yet. And one of them is on New Eden, right where that council member told us to look." Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Maria quickly gathered her equipment, but not before making one final discovery. In the newest files, she found the council's true fear. Humanity had more ancient markers than any species they'd encountered before. And those markers were becoming active. "Time to go," she whispered, slipping out through a maintenance shaft. As she made her way back to her hidden ship, her mind raced with the implications of what she'd discovered. The council hadn't just been containing species, they had been preventing the ancients' plan from coming to fruition. And somehow, humanity was meant to play a key role in that plan. Once safely in space, Maria sent an encrypted message to Admiral Gray. "Found the truth. Council has been eliminating advanced species for thousands of years. But that's not the important part." She paused, making sure her next words were clear. "Sir, we're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting to fulfill the mission the ancients gave us. And I know where to find their legacy." As her ship jumped into faster-than-light speed, Maria smiled grimly. The council thought they were fighting a young, upstart species. Instead, they had just started a war with the chosen inheritors of the ancients' legacy. and it was time for humanity to claim its birthright. Operation Prometheus began at exactly midnight Earth time. Admiral Gray stood on the bridge of the HSS Titan, Earth's newest flagship, watching as 500 human ships emerged from stealth mode around the Council's largest military base. "All ships report ready," Captain Reed announced from her station. "Adaptive shields at full power. Nanite swarms primed." Gray nodded, his face illuminated by the holographic displays. "Send the message we prepared. Let's see how they respond." On the Council base, alarms blared as human ships suddenly appeared on their scanners. The base commander, a tall insectoid being named High General Dax, received the human transmission with shock. "Surrender the base." Gray's message played clearly. "We have no desire for unnecessary bloodshed." Dax laughed, mandibles clicking. "Arrogant humans. This base has never fallen in 2,000 years. We have 5 times your numbers." True enough, over 2,000 Council ships began launching from the base, forming attack formations. They represented the combined military might of 15 Council species. Gray smiled slightly. "They never learn, do they?" He opened a channel to all human ships. "Begin Phase 1. Show them what Operation Prometheus really means." The human fleet split into smaller groups, each ship's hull beginning to glow with strange patterns. The Council fleet fired first, thousands of energy beams streaking across space. But something impossible happened. The human ships didn't just defend. They evolved mid-battle. Their hulls absorbed weapon hits and instantly developed new armor patterns. Their weapon systems analyzed Council defenses and adapted to pierce them perfectly. "Impossible," Dax shouted, watching as his first wave of ships fell to the humans' adaptive technology. "Their ships, they're learning faster than we can adjust." On the Titan's bridge, Gray received a report from his science officer. "Sir, the ancient genetic markers are working exactly as Intelligence Officer Ross predicted. Our neural links with the ships are getting stronger. The crews are connecting with their vessels on an unprecedented level." It was true. Across the human fleet, crews found themselves linking with their ship's AI systems, creating a perfect blend of human intuition and machine precision. Ships moved as if they were living beings, predicting and countering Council tactics before they even fully formed. "Sir," Captain Reed called out, "we're receiving transmissions from 3 Council ships. They're asking to surrender." More followed. Council ships began breaking formation, their crews realizing they were fighting a losing battle against an enemy that grew stronger with every passing minute. Then came the real surprise. "Admiral," Reed's voice was excited, "2 Council species are hailing us. The Blue Star Alliance and the Ridge Confederacy. They're switching sides." On the main screen, the familiar face of Blue Star appeared alongside another Council member. "We've seen enough," Blue Star announced. "The old Council's lies end today. We stand with humanity." Nearly 500 Council ships turned their weapons against their former allies. The battle became chaos as the Council fleet split apart, decades of hidden resentment against Council control finally breaking free. Gray opened a channel to all ships in the battle zone. "To any Council forces who wish to stand with us, we fight not for dominance, but for freedom. The freedom to grow, to advance, to reach our full potential. This is what the ancients intended for all species." More ships changed sides. The Council's iron grip on its member species was crumbling in real time. Inside the base, General Dax received reports of uprisings on Council worlds across the galaxy. The truth about the Council's history of genocide was spreading, and populations were revolting against their leaders. "Sir," Captain Reed reported to Gray, "the base's main defenses are down. But our scans show they're trying to delete their central database." Gray's expression hardened. "Not this time. They can't hide the truth anymore." He opened a secure channel. "All ships, execute final phase of Operation Prometheus. The base must fall intact." As human ships began their final approach, their forms still evolving and adapting, the Council's greatest military installation prepared to fall for the first time in 2 millennia. And with it would fall the Council's ability to keep its darkest secrets hidden. The turning point of the war had arrived, and humanity was leading the charge toward a new future. Dr. Alan Parker walked calmly through the Council's central archives on their capital world, wearing the holographic disguise of a high-ranking Council scientist. After 3 years of deep-cover work, no one questioned his presence anymore. Today, that trust would be their downfall. "Security systems are all in place," he whispered to his hidden communicator, ready to begin. In his lab coat pocket, a small device hummed quietly. It contained every secret, every dark truth he had gathered about the Council's 3,000-year history of genocide and control. In 10 minutes, it would broadcast everything to every communication device in Council space. "Doctor, wait," a voice called out. Parker turned to see Council Speaker Marcus rushing toward him, 4 eyes wide with panic. "The human fleet. They've broken through our last defense line. They'll be here within hours." Parker nodded calmly. "Yes, I know." He checked his watch. "In fact, they're right on schedule." Marcus froze, his silver skin paling. "What did you say?" Parker smiled and switched off his holographic disguise. "I said, everything is going exactly as planned." He pressed the button on the device in his pocket. Every screen, every hologram, every communication device in the Council capital suddenly came alive. The truth began to play everywhere at once. Records of species wiped out for advancing too quickly, proof of the Council's lies about the ancients, evidence of their plans to eliminate humanity. "You," Marcus stumbled backward. "All this time. Did you really think humanity wouldn't infiltrate your society?" Parker asked, watching as chaos erupted in the streets outside. "We've had people in place since the day you welcomed us into the Council. We knew this day would come." Through the grand windows of the archive, they could see ships appearing in the sky. But they weren't just human vessels. Ships from every species that had abandoned the Council were arriving, led by the human fleet. Marcus ran to the command center, shouting orders, but it was too late. The revolution was already spreading through every Council world. Citizens who had lived under strict control for generations were rising up, demanding answers about the secrets now being revealed. "Alert from Earth Command," Parker's communicator whispered in his ear. "Admiral Gray asks if you need extraction." Parker watched as Council security forces began fighting each other in the streets. Some remained loyal to the old leadership, but many were turning against their former masters. "Tell him I'm fine. Everything is proceeding as planned." On his tablet, Parker watched live feeds from across Council space. The Blue Star Alliance was leading a charge against loyal Council forces. The Ridge Confederacy had taken control of 3 major Council shipyards. And most importantly, the common people of every species were finally learning the truth about their leaders. "You've destroyed 3,000 years of peace and order," Marcus shouted, his composure finally breaking. "No," Parker replied calmly. "We've ended 3,000 years of lies and control. The ancients didn't want species to be controlled. They'd wanted them to grow, to evolve, to reach their full potential." Outside, the first human ships were landing in the capital city, not as conquerors, but as liberators. Medical ships arrived to help the injured. Supply ships brought food and aid to areas where fighting had broken out. Parker's communicator beeped again. "Message from Intelligence Officer Ross. Ancient facility on New Eden is fully activated, she says. She says it's more than we ever imagined." As Council Speaker Marcus was led away by his own security forces, now loyal to the revolution, Parker walked to the window. He watched as humans and aliens worked together in the streets below, helping each other, sharing information, already beginning to build something new from the ashes of the old Council. "Send word to Admiral Gray," Parker said into his communicator. "Tell him Phase 6 is complete. The Council's control is broken." He paused, watching as more ships arrived from dozens of species. and tell him to prepare for Phase 7. It's time to show everyone why the ancients chose humanity to lead this change. The revolution wasn't just successful, it was transforming into something even greater. The age of control was over. The age of freedom had begun. 1 month after the fall of the Council, representatives from 35 species gathered in the ancient chamber discovered on New Eden. The massive room, built by the ancients millennia ago, hummed with energy as its crystalline walls glowed with a soft blue light. Admiral Gray stood at the center, accompanied by Intelligence Officer Ross, Dr. Parker, and Ambassador Walker. Around them, former Council species mingled with newly liberated races, all waiting to learn why they had been summoned. The ancients left us more than just technology, Maria Ross announced, stepping forward. They left us a message, a purpose. She placed her hand on a crystal pedestal, and the room came alive with holographic images. A figure appeared, tall, made of pure light, clearly one of the ancients. Its voice echoed in everyone's native language simultaneously. If you are seeing this, then the time of awakening has come. We seeded the galaxy with potential, waiting for a species that would break free from control and fear. Humanity has proven themselves worthy by not just fighting for their own freedom, but for the freedom of all. The assembled aliens murmured in amazement as the ancient continued. The genetic markers we left were never meant to create weapons or tools of war. They were meant to help species reach their full potential, to learn, grow, and evolve together. Ambassador Walker stepped forward. For 3,000 years, the Council prevented this evolution. They kept species isolated, controlled, afraid of change. Today, we end that era. Dr. Parker activated another crystal, revealing plans the ancients had left behind. These are designs for a new kind of alliance, not built on control like the Council, but on cooperation. Each species contributing their unique strengths, all growing together. The human adaptive technology that won the war, Admiral Gray added, was just the beginning. The ancients showed us how to share this gift with all species. Each race can now evolve and advance at their natural pace, without fear or artificial limits. Above them, the hologram showed images of worlds flourishing, species working together, sharing knowledge and resources. It was the future the ancients had dreamed of, now finally possible. Blue Star, standing among the other representatives, spoke up. The Council taught us to fear rapid advancement, to fear change. How do we know this power won't corrupt us as it corrupted them? Maria Ross smiled. Because we won't be controlling it. Every species will have equal access to the ancients' knowledge, equal voice in decisions. The time of one group dictating the fate of others is over. The room filled with light as more ancient technology activated. Each representative felt a gentle warmth as their genetic markers responded, showing them glimpses of their species' true potential. We call this the Unity Accord, Ambassador Walker announced. Not an empire, not a council, but a true alliance of equals. Humanity doesn't wish to rule. We wish to guide and grow alongside you all. Admiral Gray raised his hand, and above them, the combined fleet of all allied species appeared in holographic form. Our ships, our technology, our knowledge, all will be shared. Together, we'll explore the galaxy the way the ancients intended. As one united people, each unique, each valued. Dr. Parker activated the final crystal. The ancients left us one last gift. Coordinates to other worlds where young species are developing. Species the Council would have eventually found and controlled. Instead, we will guide them, protect them, help them reach their potential. The chamber hummed with energy as, one by one, representatives stepped forward to join the Unity Accord. Former Council species stood alongside the races they had once helped oppress, all equal, all free to grow. As the ceremony concluded, Ambassador Walker looked out at the assembled beings, humans, aliens, former enemies now allies, and smiled. The Council thought declaring war on humanity would protect their power. Instead, It freed the galaxy from 3,000 years of chains. Now, the real journey begins. Above New Eden, ships from dozens of species flew together in formation, their hulls gleaming in the light of the system's sun. The war was over. The Age of Unity had begun, and somewhere, the ancients' dream of a free, united galaxy was finally coming true.